So people definitely have been familiar with it, trying to play around it. And looks like we're going to get things started. James will be going first.
Yeah, James starts with that baby Buzzwole, his champion. Looks like he attaches a floatstone here. If I'm James, he only runs one copy of Buzzwole GX, so a couple Landorus here. So maybe he grabs one of those if he can find them, or another baby Buzz. But he opts to just Cynthia.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything else playable in that hand. No Brooklet Hills. We know he actually doesn't play any copies of Ultra Ball in his deck. He has the one Nest Ball that he can search out with Karina. I'm sure he would have loved to have used Karina. I think that's probably his ideal turn one supporter. Just get another fighting Pokemon in play. Maybe get out something like a Muscle Bane, something like that. But just has to go for Cynthia here. Didn't have that option in his opening hand.
Yeah, Karina is, he runs 4 copies of Karina, so he really relies on just a very slow tempoed setup with Karina. Just grab an item, grab another Buzzwole, and just keep kind of stacking up this board.
There you go. He does draw into that one copy of Buzzwole GX. Also gets a Brooklet Hill. Going to go ahead and use that. Search his deck for a basic fighting or water Pokemon. A lot of these Buzzwole decks do play Octillery, but James has opted not to play that in his list. Really, only fighting Pokemon being the options here off the Brooklet Hill.
Yeah, if I'm James, looks like he's eyeing that Sudowoodo. An interesting pick, limits Xander to 4, prevents him from kind of filling the board with Buzzwoles and stuff like that. Maybe has to choose between Octillery and whatever. But other than that, I don't know if that was necessarily what he wants to grab right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's just wanting to limit that option for Xander to fill his bench with multiple Rockruffs, getting down the multiple Rimmeraids, potentially Buzzwole GXs as well. So Xander's just going to get things started right away using that Brooklet Hill, brings a Buzzwole GX to the front right away.
I think something for Xander here is that's actually going to be very crucial. That Lycanroc GX has the possibility for to do a lot of work here. So he can use Dangerous Rogue on like that Buzzwole, and then he can actually just use Claw Slash and kind of mill through those baby Buzzwoles. So I think that'll be key to him in this matchup.
Claw Slash does base 110 damage with Diancie Prism Star's Princess's Cheers ability, boosting it to 20. That does 130 damage, which is enough to take the KO on the baby Buzzwole. So we'll see if that's something Xander tries to set up here if he values Lycanroc a lot in this matchup.
So he grabs that Buzzwole. I didn't see what supporter he has in his hand, but looks like that might be a oh, never mind.
Looks like it's just a Guzma.
Okay. So he's going to just pull up James's Buzzwole here. Muscle Band. He'll be able to do 70 with this Jet Punch. Very good. And he'll put the 30 on the baby Buzzwole.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Looks most likely the baby Buzzwole, sure enough. Onto James's turn. Got some energies. Looks like he's got a B-string in his hand, not a card he's going to be able to play until Xander goes to 3 or 4 prizes. James is just going to start off right away with a Brooklet Hill, maybe finding a Landorus, maybe getting that DNC Prism Star that he just pulled to the front to boost his own damage output.
Yeah, Landorus is really the interesting thing here. James might be the only person in this tournament playing Landorus. It's very good because it allows you to still hit decks like Zora for weakness and not be worried about Mewtwo, any sort of psychic counters to Buzzwole.
Yeah, good against, can be useful against things like Trevenant as well, other random psychic types you could go up against. So interesting that James has, chosen the 2 Landorus EX and just the 1 copy of Buzzwole GX. Also does play 1 Zygarde EX. We saw that have some effect in his game on stream yesterday against Trevenant. Did unfortunately lose that game, but definitely a card I'm sure he's enjoyed having in his deck this weekend.
Yeah, so James plays that Karina, grabbing a baby Buzzwole, looking at what he wants to grab for an item. Choice Band's fine here, kind of try and match Xander's damage here. Well, he'd actually exceed it, and just kind of keep fighting that way.
Yeah, looks like he's actually going to opt for the Muscle Band. Maybe if he has a Guzma. Oh, no, he wouldn't be able to use that since he did just use Karina. But maybe he wants to set up for a Sledgehammer KO on this 70 HP Rockruff in the future. That could be something he's going to try to eye up, taking that Dangerous Rogue option away from Xander completely.
Looks like James will attach a basic fighting to his Buzzwole, and he does attach the Muscle Band. That is interesting. I'm not sure why he didn't take Choice Band, but maybe he wants to save that for Lycanroc.
Yeah, I think he wants to save Choice Band for later on his baby Buzzwole GX. It, swing around, does 80 damage base, plus flip 2 coins, 20 for each head. So there's a chance that Choice Band math could be relevant to take out a future Buzzwole GX on Xander's side or a Lycanroc GX, something along those lines. So I think it's smart to save the Choice Band for later and use the Muscle Band to still put a little additional pressure on Xander.
Yeah, so Xander looks like he's using Brooklet Hill here. Maybe he's taking another Buzzwole. He has Octillery in his hand, but he's not taking Remoraid, so at least I think it might be prized here.
There is a chance it is. He does only play that one line. A lot of times in the standard format, we see people playing a two line so that they can avoid issues like that. Always have access to those Octilleries. And expanded players do tend to get a little greedier with their deck building. They have more space. The format's a lot faster, so you can afford a little bit of to cut down on consistency to increase your speed, but could potentially be hurting Xander here if that Remoraid is in his prizes.
Yeah, definitely. He plays a Colders for 6 here. Probably just looking for, maybe another Rockruff, maybe a Baby Buzz of his own, maybe Max Elixir, B-String, anything to just kind of keep developing his board.
Yeah, I want to find more basics, I'm sure, at some point. He knows at this point James does not play Lycanroc GX. Nothing for him to be scared of as far as Dangerous Rogue GX goes. We'll see him draw his 6 cards. I do see a couple of Max Elixirs in there. If he had a switching card as well, he could maybe try to get a knockout this turn, but I don't think that there's really a way for him to move this Buzzwole since it already has a Muscle Band on it.
Yeah, so he's thinking about those Max Elixirs. He could play one, maybe hit it on the Rockruff, or just put it on the Buzzwole. He's got that B-String as well, so maybe he's anticipating future B-String onto his Buzzwole, and he does put it on Rockruff.
Yeah, and really paying off here that Forbidden Light brought us that 70 HP Rockruff. Xander previously probably would have been really scared to put that energy on a 60 HP Rockruff, since Buzzwole's Jet Punch will be able to hit 30 damage on a benched Pokemon. But since this Rockruff does have 70 HP, James would need something like a Guzma in order to knock it out.
Yeah. And Xander here, not playing the second Max Elixir, wants to save it for next turn, see what he can do. He could have a big turn next turn, and he opts to just use Jet Punch. Puts the 30 damage onto, looks like the Baby Buzz again.
Yep, 60 damage on that now, 140 on James's active Buzzwole. So we're going to see Brooklet Hill here. What does he find? Looks like he's eyeing up another Baby Buzzwole. He plays so many copies of this card, it just seems like that's naturally what he gets in play.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that Baby Buzzwole has 60 damage on it, which means Xander can knock that out with a Jet Punch. If he finds a Strong Energy or another Muscle Band, thanks to Deance's ability, he can knock that out with a Jet Punch and not trigger the B-String.
Yeah, so Xander being really smart about how he wants to play around the B-String, how he wants to play around that Sledgehammer attack from Baby Buzzwole. Kind of harder to play around B-String since you'd have to effectively take one prize and then take a 3 prize turn in order to not trigger B-String, since it works when you're at 3 or 4 prizes. So we'll see if maybe that's something he's trying to set up. That'd be really interesting to see. Both of these players are excellent players. They're here at table number 2 in Roanoke as we wind down the rounds. James is, of course, the defending Roanoke regional champion, won last year with that Lapras deck. Xander, a regional champion himself this season, winning a regionals with Espeon Garbodor, and has won another one in the past with Mega Gardevoir. So very familiar in these high-pressure situations in Pokemon TCG.
Yeah, definitely. James responds with a Jet Punch of his own. I think both Buzzwole here are at 140 damage each. Kind of a mirror match here.
Yeah, looks like it. James just matching all of Xander's damage exactly as much as Xander's putting out. James is just dishing it back out. We see Ultra Ball come out for Xander. Maybe could find that Lycanroc GX if he wants to. Looks like that's what he's going to eye up. And we'll see, he could use that Bloodthirsty Eyes to bring up maybe that Baby Buzzwole on the bench to take that knockout that you were mentioning, so that he's playing around that Sledgehammer attack.
Yeah, definitely. And this way he still, he has the Dangerous Rogue as an option if he needs. If he can get another energy on that Rockruff, then he can start using Claw Slash. That Lycanroc is a little damaged, so it won't be as difficult for James to kill, but still a lot of utility for Xander.
Yeah, it actually has 30 damage on it. James chose not to put the 30 damage from this past turn on there. Wants to start damaging that Buzzwole, so I think this is really, really smart from James, spreading his damage around, and this can really be relevant when it comes to swing arounds later in the game with Buzzwole, the Baby Buzzwole. An unfortunate whiff for Xander Pero there. Playing the Max Elixir does not hit the energy card. That would have been a great hit for him. Could have gotten 2 energies in play this turn, and looks like he just won't have that option.
Yeah. So if I'm Xander here, I probably do use the Lycanroc, pull up that damage Baby Buzz, and then, if he's going to do that, where do you think he puts the 30 damage?
It'll be interesting to see. He could knock out the Buzzwole GX on the bench, but then he would open up to James's B-Strings. Maybe he would take the 3 prize turn, maybe he would try to spread the damage around and set up for something later. Hasn't played the Lycanroc yet. Xander's a very smart player, takes his time on these turns, tries to figure out how he wants to play out his coming turns. So you can see him kind of just mapping out the next few turns, deciding what he wants to bring up here.
He's thinking about it, and he does target that damaged Baby Buzz. And he plays a Sycamore, and that's a clean Sycamore, I believe.
Fresh 7 cards.
Nothing discarded. They should have high-fived there, but we'll let that air slip.
Yeah, isn't that in the rule book? If you play a Sycamore with no other cards in your hand, you're supposed to high-five your opponent, right?
I believe so, yes. So minor gameplay error. Xander attaches a Float Stone to the Diancie. He probably doesn't want to put too many Pokemon down that can be chumped by that Baby Buzz. So Diancie's actually got quite a bit of HP for being such a otherwise small basic.
Yeah, 120 HP on the basic Pokemon, definitely really solid. Actually, not quite enough damage to knock out that Bench Buzzwell. I was a little mistaken on my math there, so...
But I think this is still fine. He sets it up to die from a Jet Punch at any point in the game here.
Yeah.
So James has to be cognizant of that. Maybe now Xander can actually use Jet Punch to spread damage around more and then take a huge 3-prize turn later.
Yeah, and that would help him play around the Beast Ring. Maybe that's what Xander is trying to set up. The issue with this strategy, if this is what Xander is going for, is it takes a while to get to that point in the game. And the damage is building up on his side of the field as well. And there's definitely a chance that these Baby Buzzwolves could just come in and start using those attacks. And even just 30 damage for 1 energy, if there's a ton of damage on your Pokemon, it gets ramped up so easily by Strong Energy, Diancie Prism Star, Beast Energy, Choice Band, Muscle Band. So even if Xander is trying to do this, the damage is still going to build up on his side.
Yeah, definitely. James looks like he...
just going to play an N. This is, not super disruptive necessarily to Xander at this point. He'll still draw 5 cards. He doesn't have Octillery in play. We think he has prized the rim rate at this point in the game, but James maybe just needing to refresh his hand and get a new 6.
Yeah.
Still maybe looking to attach an energy this turn as well. I don't think he attached that energy on the Bench Buzzwell. That may have been their last turn. I can't quite remember if he attached it this turn or not.
I think that's been there before.
Yep, so still looking for an energy card for sure, trying to get that attachment, keep multiple energies in play, and it'll be interesting to see what he attaches to. Does he go onto that Baby Buzzwell with 1 energy on it to start setting up for that swing around attack, or does he spread the energy around to his other Buzzwell?
Looks like he gets a Fighting Energy, I think I saw.
As well as that Beast Energy. Prism Star, new card from the Forbidden Light set, definitely helps ramp up these Ultra Beast Pokemon's damage quite a bit. So we'll see where he puts his energy card.
Just looking at that fighting. One of the coolest things about that Beast Energy and Beast Ring is that these Baby Buzz, even though they're not GXs, they still count as Ultra Beasts.
Absolutely.
That's kind of something we haven't seen before with these new mechanics. So he attaches to Baby Buzz, and then he'll just use Jet Punch and knock out Xander's Buzzwole.
Yeah, and he's done a good job of spreading this damage around on these benched Pokemon. 60 damage on the Lycanroc GX. There's 30 damage on Buzzwole GX. So it'll be easy later on to take knockouts on those Pokemon.
Yeah, and now Xander, James is down to 4 prizes, so Xander has access to his Beast Rings here. If he can get another Buzzwole, he can take advantage of that quick, kind of really advance his board state with a lot of energy in play. And he takes a Baby Buzz here.
Yeah, actually something kind of interesting here. With the 30 damage on that Buzzwole GX, a swing around does 80 damage if James has Choice Band plus Beast Energy plus the Diancie Prism Stars Princess's Cheers. He won't even have to flip any of the coins for the Sledgehammer or the swing around attack. He'd be able to hit 160 damage and knock out the Buzzwole on the bench that already has 30 on it. Maybe that's what he's trying to set up.
Could be, yeah. Xander here, of course, his Baby Buzz can knock out James's Baby Buzz. Play a little bit of James's game here, but I wonder what he's going to use to knock out this Buzzwole. Maybe he Jet Punches?
Yeah, if he has a Guzma in his hand, we could maybe see him try to spread some more damage and take a knockout on the benched Buzzwole. James is at 4 prizes, so this is a great turn for Xander to try to utilize those Beast Rings if he can find them this turn. So we'll see if he's able to draw into those cards and if he's able to use them or not.
I don't see a Guzma in his hand. I see a Sycamore. He's got a Strong Energy to attach for turn. He's powering up this Lycanroc here. Unfortunately, Dangerous Rogue will only take 1 prize if James doesn't put down another EX or GX, so not as valuable, but Xander follows that attachment up with an N.
Yeah, I think he wants to just attach to the Lycanroc because he knows that this is the turn that he's going to get to use that Beast Ring, and he might be able to use it on his next turn as well if James has to knock out Xander's Baby Buzzwole. So, he wants to draw the B strings here, and he can't attach energy with B string to Lycanroc GX. He can attach it to the Buzzwole GX on his side. He can attach it to the Baby Buzzwole. Can't attach to Lycanroc, though, so he wants to get the energies on that from his hand so that he can use B string to attach to his other Pokemon.
It does not look like he got a B string. He got another energy, and he's going to retreat to the Baby Buzz. Unfortunately, doesn't get the ability to take advantage of all this damage he previously put on, but now James has to deal with this Baby Buzzwole.
And Xander did that smart thing that we were talking about, did not put himself at 4 prizes, so now that Sledgehammer will not work. He'll have to use Swing Around if he wants to try to get a knockout on this Buzzwole in the active. Maybe if James can activate some B strings here, though, we could see a really strong turn from James.
And James promotes the Baby Buzzwole with the energy, so that leads me to believe maybe he doesn't have a Guzma, or he has a Floatstone combination.
I think he top-decked Computer Search for his turn, which is huge. Computer Search, the A-Spec card, which will let you search your deck for any 2 cards, so he can certainly get B strings in play here if he wants to. He can maybe pull off a Guzma, something along those lines. We'll see what he goes with. It'll be interesting to see. Computer Search, sometimes you just have so many options in your deck. It's a little difficult to decide, right?
Yeah. He does play that Computer Search, and he is discarding... Looks like maybe 2 Fighting Energy. Those E-Reader cards.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Ancient Fighting Energy here. So I guess I wonder what he grabs here. He has to keep in mind that he can't... this is his only turn of B-String. Most likely.
Most likely.
So, does he just try and get as much energy in play on these 2 Baby Buzz? Does he try and get a Guzma for a knockout? I didn't see what he took.
Not quite sure. We'll have to see what he went with. I think you definitely want to take advantage of B strings if you can. He does play the 3 copies in his deck. He wants to utilize them. And he doesn't play Max Elixir, right? Those are his only ways of energy acceleration is the B strings. So his deck is designed to take advantage of it when he can. Ooh, there's a Lysander, actually. Doesn't need to switch benched Pokemon because Lysander letting him bring up that Lycanroc GX. And he'll be able to use Swing Around here. Doesn't even have to flip any coins. I think the flip doesn't matter. No, maybe it does. Maybe he needs to hit a heads here.
And he doesn't.
Double tails. Wow.
That is brutal.
Just short. I thought that maybe, he didn't have the choice band. That's what it was. Did not quite get there. And that is so unfortunate for James Arnold. But at the same time, this Lycanroc is set up to be knocked out by a Hammerhead from Landorus EX later on in the game.
Definitely, yeah. So Xander now has a chance to kind of take control of this game. He can use this Lycanroc, just dangerous rogue here. It's going to go down, but he might as well get the GX attack out of it. Take out this Baby Buzz with all the energy. It's going to Brooklet Hill here.
Yeah, he could even attach just a basic energy to the active and Claw Slash, maybe if he wants to leave himself the option to Dangerous Rogue later in the game with another Rockruff. But at this point in the game is getting, it's been a little while now, so it may be a little difficult to pull that off.
Yeah, and Xander actually does take that Remoraid, so he had it the whole time. Maybe just realizing, if James is going to be using Jet Punch, I don't want that Remoraid to get knocked out. Give up additional prizes. And Definitely. He just retreats, and his Baby Buzz will be able to use Sledgehammer because James is still at 4. This is a huge turn for Xander, wipes all the energy off the board, and he goes down to 2 prizes.
Yeah, and this is definitely big for Xander, like you said. It'll be interesting to see if James is able to top deck something. I'm not sure where the card in his hand is. It looks like it is a Karina. What does he grab here? Could maybe get a... a Landorus EX if he has an energy card to take the 2 prizes on the bench Lycanroc.
I think if he takes Landorus, though, Xander's got a fully powered Buzzwole GX on the bench and that Diancie. So if he takes a Landorus and uses it to knock out Lycanroc, then Xander will just win the game with a Knuckle Impact. So James is really in a difficult position here.
A tough spot for sure, and definitely just intelligent.
And he just concedes.
Wow.
He realizes, probably saw that play. Xander saw it coming too. Xander played that incredibly smart.
Incredibly smart play from Xander Pero. This is just his 2nd year in the Masters division. We've talked about this weekend as we featured some of these younger players, how intelligent they are, these people that have played for the game for so many years. And, Xander had so many accomplishments through the juniors and seniors divisions, making top 8 at Nationals in the past. I believe top 8 at Worlds as well in one of those divisions.
He's actually a national champion as well.
Oh, okay,
He did win Nationals in the juniors division, so... Very smart player.
Yeah, and top 4 at Worlds this past year as well, and his first year as a Master. So Xander Pero definitely very well equipped, but of course, like we've mentioned, James knows what he's doing as well. He's regional champion. He's also a player who's been around the game for a very, very long time. So
correct, yeah. So plenty of time left for the 2 games here, but Xander, if he can just recreate that same thing that he was doing, just play around that 4 prize number, then I think he's got a good shot to win. James needs his opponent to play into it, and Xander very intelligently not giving him that option.
Yeah, and it kind of, looking back at that game, I think it was definitely unfortunate for James. He wasn't able to really utilize B-String. He doesn't have what these other Buzzwole decks have in Max Elixir. He chose not to play it, so he's not able to get that early aggression, get those extra energies that way. His only way to get extra energies is with B-String, so if the turn your opponent is at 3 and 4 prizes, you're not able to utilize them well, you're not going to get a good value out of that, and it's going to be tough to win that game.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm James, do I play that game any differently? Do I approach the second game any differently?
I think he played it just fine. Like I said, I really do think it just kind of comes down to that turn where he missed those beast energies and just Xander's intelligent play in general as well. And it is interesting. I've seen James kind of do this while walking around. He does play a lot of non-EX attackers, and because of that, it kind of forces your opponent to work a little harder to win the game, to take all 6 of their prize cards. So, Xander's deck is usually built to just take 2 prizes on a big EX or GX with Knuckle Impact or Absorption or Dangerous Rogue. And if James is using all these 1 prize Pokemon, it might be a situation where Xander kind of runs out of steam with his Buzzwole GXs because, he's forced to try to take a full 6 knockouts.
Yeah, something I could, maybe James in this game, maybe he opts to just not use his Buzzwole GX or Landorus GX, just attack the active Pokemon with Sledgehammer, but force Xander to eventually get into that 4 prize range by not giving him a GX to kind of make the prize trade a little odder there.
Yeah, the Sledgehammer can build up with damage even if your opponent's not at 4 prizes. It is a base 30 damage. But it's boosted so much by these things like Muscle Band, Choice Band, Strong Energy, Beast Energy. We've talked about all these cards so many times, but still just very, very good.
Xander starts. Interesting. Xander is going first.
Oh, James must have chosen to go second. Maybe wanted to really get that turn 1 Jet Punch off. And Xander looks like he just has an energy to attach, a Floatstone, and a pass. Not a lot going on Xander's side. James Arnold, using Karina, can find a fighting Pokemon and a item card. It looks like he's eyeing up Professor's Letter, which will let him fetch out 2 basic fighting energies.
Yeah, Professor's Letter is a card that we have not seen for a little while here, but it makes sense in this deck. All you really want is energy, and because you're in 4 copies of Karina, you can actually just grab your attacker and an energy to go with it. So I like this play a lot from James.
So something kind of interesting, a fun little factoid in James's list last year that he used to win Roanoke. He played no Ultra Balls. He doesn't play any Ultra Balls today. In his list he won when Roanoke last year, he played Professor's Letter as well. So lots of these similar cards that are definitely unique cards. We don't see Professor's Letter a lot. Lists basically always play Ultra Ball. James kind of going against the norm here, and it's really working out. He's in a good position where he can potentially make top 8 at this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Xander, of course, 1 win away in this series from making top 8 himself here. So James has a Floatstone as well. This is a great opening hand from James.
So yeah, it really looks like James did choose to go second. Normally you always want to go first in the Pokemon TCG. James really just wanting to get that turn 1 damage output. He doesn't have any evolution Pokemon in his deck, so maybe it's okay for him to be going second. I wonder if this is a decision he's made commonly throughout this tournament.
Yeah, tactical second from James. And Xander looks like he top decks an N. Maybe he didn't want to bail James out. I don't know what else James had, but he needs to get other stuff.
And there's a chance James actually did choose to go first, and he just drew and passed really fast, and we didn't notice it. So not quite sure what happened there. So we will have to see what these players get off of the N. Each player drawing 6 cards off of this, since they do still have 6 prizes here at the start of the game.
Yeah, so Xander attaches to the Rock Ref. And that's interesting because, like in Rock GX, Dangerous Rogue isn't going to do anything right now. So maybe he's hoping to hit an Elixir, but he had it in his hand last turn. So this is an interesting attachment from Xander.
Maybe he's just attaching it because he wants to try to have higher odds of drawing other cards that get him basic Pokemon, things like Ultra Ball, things like Brooklet Hill, and he does draw those cards here so he can get a Buzzwole GX in play. Has already attached an energy though, as you mentioned.
He's obviously got that Buzzwole. Just checking his deck, looking at counts. I wasn't able to see if he has that Octillery line or how many other pieces of the Lycanroc line he has.
Yeah, definitely going to value Buzzwole GX first. He can get Octillery in play a little later, but maybe he did have access to it that last game and just chose not to play it like we mentioned because he doesn't want to let it get targeted by Jet Punch too early.
So James draws a lot of energy in his hand here. DNC Prism Star. If he's got a Guzma, he can knock out this Rockruff on the bench. But I think he probably would have played something like that if he had it.
Yeah, I don't see one in his hand now. We actually see him attaching to this Buzzwole GX.
This is Brooklet Hill. Probably will find a baby Buzzwole here. Looks like that's what he's eyeing here.
Yeah, we know he loves to use this baby Buzzwole because of, just that prize trade potential that we were kind of talking about between games. It can still hit a decent chunk of damage once you get a bunch of energies on it, so really valuing this card.
Now with this Jet Punch here, that Sudowoodo already has 30 damage, so Jet Punch for 70 damage should be able to knock out that Sudowoodo and not trigger Xander's B-String, but still give James a prize.
And it'll be interesting to see where James puts the 30 damage that goes on the bench. Last game in this pretty similar scenario, we saw him actually target the Buzzwole GX, kind of spreading the damage around, trying to make it so that he can take knockouts easier later on. We'll see if that's the same strategy he employs, or if he targets this basic Rockruff on the bench.
Xander draws his 6. We see a Strong. We see a Remoraid. James
also plays Oricorio, which is something that could come into play for just one energy card. Can do a ton of damage to a Buzzwole GX with a Revelation Dance, that second attack.
James puts the other 30 on that Rockruff, so now it's at 60. It's got 2 basic fighting energy and a Strong. So if he can find a Strong energy, which he does have, Dangerous Rogue will knock out this Buzzwole GX, but then that'll put Xander, that'll pretty kind of pigeonhole him with all of his energy.
Yeah, and that would actually also put him at that 4 prize count where Sledgehammer would just be able to come in on that baby Buzzwole and knock out the Lycanroc GX since it already has the 60 damage on it. So
definitely.
This is putting Xander in an awkward spot. James has drawn pretty well to start this game, and because of it, Xander is kind of on the back foot here, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. Xander... actually, if I'm Xander here, if there's a way for me to, if I can find another Elixir and I can hit on that Buzz on the back, maybe I can just Knuckle Impact and knock out this active Buzz and then save the Lycanroc for later once it gets out of that exact 4 prize number.
Maybe so. We'll see what he decides to do. Xander's a very smart player, so I could definitely see a play like that coming out. He will probably want to get a Lycanroc GX in play regardless, just so he doesn't lose the Rockruff if he does send it to the bench.
Definitely.
He's eyeing it up here.
I think Karina as well. Maybe he grabs a B-String with this Karina in anticipation. And it looks like that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, just trying to set it up for the next turn.
Okay. So seeing this, I imagine Xander's probably going to go for this Dangerous Rogue. Take out this Buzzwole, take the 2 prizes, give up the B-String, activate Sledgehammer, but prepare himself to kind of go into the later stages of this game.
Yeah, so we'll see if this aggression pays off for Xander, being okay. Going down to the 4 prizes, he played around it in Game 1 and it worked out. Kind of changing his strategy here in Game 2, it looks like, and I think his awkward start is kind of forcing him into this.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's really cool to see these players who are able to adapt to situations like this. He's having to implement a completely different strategy than he had in the first game. And, this is just a sign of a great player being able to do that. There's that strong energy you mentioned. He will be able to hit exactly 190 damage due to the DNC's Prism Stars. Princess's Cheer, the strong energies plus 20. Dangerous Rogue will hit 190 to knock out this Buzzwole GX.
And he does the GX attack, takes down this Buzzwole,
Yeah, going to draw 2 prizes. James just sends up Sudowoodo immediately. Does have the energy cards in his hand that he needs immediately to respond to this Lycanroc GX. Going to go ahead and attach to the baby Buzzwole. Can use Brooklet Hill as well to get another Pokemon in play. Maybe another baby Buzzwole, maybe something like a Landorus EX. But I think at this point, we're going to see James not put any other EX Pokemon in play. Force Xander to take a full 4 knockouts to win the game.
Yeah, definitely. Xander, so James knocks out this Lycanroc, and then Xander, he'll knock out this Baby Buzz, but James still has access to B-String because it's 3 or 4 prize cards, and that is not something that Xander wants to see.
We actually saw him use Rescue Stretcher for the Buzzwole GX, so maybe he will use that, put that on the bench. If he can get value out of it by getting B-Strings in his hand, he can get energies attached to it. That actually could be a good way to get value out of the Buzzwole GX and make it worthwhile putting another 2 prize Pokemon in play.
Yeah, definitely. He can use the Buzzwole GX to knock out Xander's clean Buzzwole GX once it gets out of that 4 prize range. Once Xander gets out of the range.
Yeah, has not put it down yet. Kind of debating if he wants to. I think I do see a B-String in his hand, which he can use this turn. We'll see which Pokemon he attaches to. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just spread the energy to like maybe the other baby Buzzwole, but if he benches this Buzzwole GX, I could also see it going there.
A Nest Ball, I believe that was also a card that he ran in his winning deck last year in that Quad Lapras deck.
Sure enough.
So James has just taken 190 HP GX and replaced it with one of a different color.
You know, and kind of funny too, Lapras GX's attack is really similar to Buzzwole GX's attack. It does 160 damage, and you can't attack during the next turn, so quite the same. James just really favoring Buzzwole GX and Lapras being kind of two unique decks.
Yeah, maybe if they keep printing GXs that do this same thing, James will always show up to Roanoke with the next one.
Yeah, seems to have success in Roanoke when he shows up here. Definitely enjoys this tournament, I'm sure.
Puts down the Oricorio, and he will use Sledgehammer to knock it out. Doesn't play the Beast Ring.
So maybe that's not a Beast Ring in his hand, and maybe I'm mistaken. No, it actually looks like it is.
Maybe he's just waiting to see what Xander will do so that he can, accurately place the energy in the most intelligent place.
And this is kind of smart, too, because he knows that Xander... Like, he doesn't have any two-prize Pokemon in play. So Xander is, if he takes another knockout, which he would have to win the game eventually, right, is going to have to, put them... Yeah, he's going to have to take one more prize, put himself at 3 prizes, which would still activate James's Beast Ring. And this is smart because if Xander does come up and Knuckle Impact, James can easily bench his own Buzzwole GX, Beast Ring to it, attach, and then Knuckle Impact to knock it out in return.
Yeah, Xander is playing Lele. If I'm Xander, I think I'm taking this N here, which he is going to do. He probably realizes that James has a Beast Ring. He didn't play that Buzzwole down, so Xander knows something is coming. Great play by Xander here. He'll disrupt James and knock out this baby Buzz.
Yeah, James kind of prematurely a little bit played that rescue stretcher, put the Buzzwole GX in his hand, but even still, even if Xander does end it back into the deck, James will have access to find it with Brooklet Hill.
Xander puts down this Remoraid now before he's going to end, realizes that, Octillery will be very crucial at the end of the game here to find those last couple of cards he needs, those Guzmas and everything like that. So it's a great turn from Xander here. This is what he needs to kind of take control of this game.
And we also see Xander attaching a basic fighting for turn to that baby Buzzwole, saying, I know that you're already past 4 prizes, James. I'm not going to get full value out of Sledgehammer, but Swing Around has worked out pretty well for you today. Maybe I can use it to my advantage as well. It is an Ultra Beast, so he can use Beast Ring to get those energies on it this turn. So really just wants to get as many energies in play here, I think.
Yeah, so Xander will draw 4, James will draw 3, gets a Max Elixir and a Guzma, two good cards for the future turns, and he'll retreat and just use Knuckle Impact for the knockout.
So we'll see what James has. Can he find a Beast Ring here? He did get into just a hand size of 3. Oh, it looks like he doesn't really have too much going on. He's got 3 energy cards, I think. I think it's 2 Strong Energies, an Ultra Beast Energy, and I think like a Brooklet Hill or something like that, a card he's not able to play. So going to use his own Brooklet Hill. Maybe we'll see him go with like a Jet Punch here, trying to do a little bit of damage to this Buzzwole. He knows that this Buzzwole, if he sends it to the active spot, is going to be safe because the only way Xander has to reset the Knuckle Impact from last turn is to send this Buzzwole to the bench with something like a Guzma, which would mean James's Buzzwole GX would be safe in the active spot.
Yeah. James is looking, honestly, in this situation, because your hand is so poor, I don't think you take anything, and he rightly doesn't. You don't want to put another EX or GX in play and give Xander the chance to take an easy prize on that. So James in a really desperate position here.
He's got the Ultra Beast Energy, could attack with Sledgehammer here. We could also see him attach the basic to Oricorio maybe, and use that Revelation Dance, dealing 60 damage after the weakness. Oricorio is resistant to fighting. Wow, actually choosing to attach the Ultra Beast Energy. Wow.
Oricorio, of course, not from another dimension, so will not get the boosted damage from that.
And he had to do it, too, because the only 2 other energies in his hand were Strong Energies.
That is brutal. Now this gives Xander a chance. He's going to attach the Baby Buzz. He's got Guzma. He can take out the next Baby Buzz if he wants. He could even do it with his Baby Buzz. I think if he gets A heads. But I think the safe play is here to just Guzma and Knuckle Impact it again.
This is definitely a good spot for Xander to be in. Really smart play, pulling off that in at just the right time, I think, last turn. And it really kind of stuck James with not much of anything.
Yeah, now Xander is eyeing that Guzma. Going to play it here. And he will target...
I think here you could bring up the Baby Buzz, but I could also honestly see an argument for the Diancie Prism Star. I think he's just kind of doing math, trying to figure out what he needs as far as like heads and tails. And I think might not even need any heads here. Just is able to take a knockout. DNC Prism Star goes to that loss zone.
Now, Xander 2 prizes away from winning, and James is bored. Now it looks even worse with that Oricorio and the Beast Energy. There's not really much James can do. His hand is poor. He's only got Strongs. Brooklet Hill won't do anything. I didn't see what he drew, but it can't be good.
Yeah, I think if it was a supporter, he would have probably played it pretty quickly, being excited he was able to draw out of his dead hand.
I think it actually it was a muscle band.
Okay.
So he'll be able to 2-shot this baby Buzzwole GX with his Oricorio. Not the prize trade that he envisioned here, but he's desperate.
Yeah, this is what he has to do. He still deal 100 damage here, pretty solid for 1 energy, and once again, Oricorio is resistant to fighting. I think Swing Around should still be able to knock it out, though, with all the buffs from Deancey and Strong Energy.
Xander has another Guzma in his hand, so he'll be able to take another prize this turn. He's going to Ultra Ball. I assume he's just going to grab the Octillery, just make sure that James won't be able to end him out of the game, even though I don't even think an end can save James, but
yeah. Definitely a tough spot for James. You got to feel bad, that into 3 yielded him nothing, and definitely smart from Xander to be able to find the in on that turn and pull it off, and just really kind of stick James in a bad spot. Abyssal Hand will draw a couple cards here. See if he does choose to play that Guzma. So he would, if he wanted to knock out this baby Buzzwole with the Guzma, would need to flip 1 heads on Swing Around. So he's just going to take the safe route, take the knockout on Oricorio, make sure he doesn't go double tails. Like we saw that happen to James in the last game, flipping double tails on a Swing Around.
Yeah, and James, he has to find a way to knock out that Buzzwole GX and then just pray Xander flips poorly, because otherwise this game is over, and I don't really know what James can do to do that. His hand is poor, nothing.
I mean, and there's already a Buzzwole GX on Xander's bench with 3 energies on it, so Knuckle Impact will be able to knock anything out. I think James here would almost certainly need to find some way to Guzma this Buzzwole GX and knock it out. That basically would be his only way, and hope that Xander is able to flip a couple heads on the Swing Around, but I don't think he even has a way to get that knockout on Buzzwole GX.
And he knocks it out, and he has to pray that Xander doesn't have a strong, but Xander, we know, has that Guzma, and he will just pull up the Sudowoodo. Good games. Xander takes 2 pretty decisive wins.
Absolutely, really intelligent play in both games. Despite that bad start, we saw Xander able to come back and really win that game too in kind of a convincing fashion.
Yeah, in the first game, Xander played it really well, danced around that 4 prize number, kind of swept James. And then in the second game, that clutch end in the middle of the game really kind of just decided the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And congratulations to Xander here. This actually secures him a top 8 spot. Has had a couple top 8s this season, so he's definitely glad to be back into the top 8 of a regional championships. Lots on the line here. Potential $5,000 for a champion today. So we'll see if maybe Xander Perot could come away as the victor.